All right, our white is mostly dry. Now remember, my paint is temper paint, so it looks a little different than yours might if you used acrylic, okay? So let's talk about what we're going to need. We're going to need some flat brushes. I have a couple of flat brushes here, bigger one and a little one. And you're going to need, of course, some round brushes, big and small. And if you're really picky, you can use a little tiny one. I don't know that we're going to need that for this, but we'll see. Okay, so you're going to need those brushes and a paint rag, which I brought out and I don't see it now, so I need to grab that. So I'll just use the one my daughter used yesterday. I'll just use the paint rag, just an old washcloth that's falling apart. And then we're going to need these colors of paint. Okay, can you see? We're going to use the green that we had. I added 2 wells of white, blue, 2 wells of yellow, and orange. But of course, when you paint yours, you're going to be able to see what colors you want, and you can do the same thing I'm doing, or you can change it up a little bit, okay? But the technique will still be the same no matter what colors you use. All right? And because of the size of this canvas and the way my camera is, I'm not going to be able to show you. I will try the best that I can to hold up the palette to show you the mixing that's going on. Also, I have an extra palette. I keep an extra palette with me when I paint so that I have enough room. When I have a lot of colors like I do, sometimes mixing, you need extra space, okay? So I have that right near me, and of course a clean glass of water. All right, and here's my old nasty rag. Look at that. It's falling apart. Perfect for paint rag. Okay, so let's get down to business here, shall we? Let's first mix a little bit of, I'm going to take this green right here, and we may end up adding some green later, but I'm going to take this green right here next to the black. I'm going to scoop a little of the black, and I'm going to put it with that green. Now remember, and I might have scooped too much. Yep, I probably scooped too much. I'm going to clean my brush off real quick. And I'm going to scoop a little bit more of this green. We can add more green later to the center if we want to. But I'm going to mix a little bit of a dark green in there. Can you see that? So it's just a little bit darker than the other green. We'll use that for some of our details, and I'm going to get all the paint off that I can. Has a little bit of paint. Okay, then we're going to come in here and we're going to start at this crease right here, okay? Right here at the crease. And we're going to take our brush and just do a little swoop. Like this, and one at the top. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom lid. Swoosh. Swoosh. Okay, and dip a little bit more of that dark green paint, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Swoosh. Swoosh. And then down here, swoosh. We're going to let our paint trail off because that part of the eye is where we're going to see highlights because the light's going to hit it, okay? All right, so while we have our dark on our brush, I'm going to actually add regular green to it just a little bit. I don't want it quite that dark for the next part, so I'm going to stick my dirty brush into the regular green over here. And it's still going to be darker than the regular green, but not as dark as the dark green, okay? And that's the part that we're going to blend right here. We're going to just kind of set that right there, just a little blendy. We're going to kind of keep it dry. Okay, and just blend into that really dark green. Okay, and same thing down here. Okay, and then we're going to, maybe we're going to take this one that we mixed in the middle here and maybe hit the sides. So if the light is here, then we might see a little bit of a shadow at these edges. We may go in and add some blue to that. But for right now, just hit the side of it with a little bit of that dark green. Okay, I'm going to put that into water and give it a good swish because I don't want my brush to be dirty. And I'm going to switch to this flat brush, okay? So what we're going to do now is add some darks. So we're going to hit that dark color mixed with a little bit of that green. We don't want to mix it all up, just kind of mixy. Can you see how it's sort of swirly there? Okay. And then we're going to come in here underneath and we're going to use that same dabbing motion to create shadows beneath those eye spikes that we made. Okay. We're not doing it all over the place, just down here under this spot right here. And we can trail them out just a little bit. And we're thinking of them like they are scales. Okay? So go ahead and you can actually make them, you know, do a stroke if you want. I'm taking some of that dark again, some of my green. I'm mixing up more because I didn't really make enough. It's still pretty dark, so I'm going to add some more green. That's got a chunk of white in it. And it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed up. And just give some darker values. And maybe over here we have some in the little wrinkle of his eye that show that there's a shadow there. We can trail some of those out here a little further. The ones under will be closer together. And we're going to kind of bring them over here to the bridge of the nose just a little bit. This is where his dragon nose would be, over on this side. And maybe there's just a few. Let's keep these pretty dry back here. Just do some little pats. It's really pretty easy. It's really about placement. Color, value, placement. To show the lights and darks by the eye of this mighty dragon. Maybe just a few. And now let's just go around here a little bit, and after we finish this part, and every now and again, we're going to take some of this kind of dark but not super dark green and just do some textury places where we're going to see those scales sort of have little patchy spots. Okay? And this is almost regular green, just a little bit darker. Okay? In those places where we've just done that light green, we might even end up putting some yellows near it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to just take my dirty brush into my green and my dirty green brush and put it into my yellow, excuse me. And I'm going to add yellow right into the side of this green. Can you see what I've done? We're going to make a lighter yellow right here. I'm going to even add more yellow to that. Now we're going to go in with some lighter colors. Okay? And we're going to just, these places over here where the more light will be hitting our dinosaur dragon guy, we're going to put that light green there. Just a few places, and it can even be a little mixy on those dark spots. And I'm going to go super bright down here with just straight yellow, just to create that texture of dinosaur. So now we're doing straight yellow. And you can just let it do a little mix. We're going to imagine where that light is going to hit. And this would be where his kind of snout nose would begin. So we're going to kind of make that brighter on this side. See how it's lighter here? You don't want to put it everywhere. You want to keep it where you want the lightest parts to be. So we might even see a little bit of this peeking in right here, where the light is hitting that eyelid. We don't want too much yellow there. We want it to be that greeny color because our eyeball is going to be bright yellow. Okay, you can even touch a little white there. Let's touch a little white on our palette, just a little touch, and mix it on our canvas right there. And we'll do the same on the lower too. Just a little bit of white mixed in with our dirty brush. See how that creates even another color of green? Pretty cool, huh? That got a little bit too white, so let's green that up a little bit. Okay? Lovely. Now, let's come over here. I want to sort of soften this up a little bit. It's a little bit dark. So I'm just doing a couple of dabs here and there of that light green just for color variance. I'm not doing it super bright, just to kind of show some slight color changes in other places on this dragon. Okay. All right, now let's deal with first. Let's go ahead and clean our brush and paint this yellow. Okay. I'm going to put this brush in water. And I'm going to get this brush and do the yellow, this sort of big flat brush. Okay. So we're going to go in our clean yellow, not our dirty yellow. This is why we did the second well. And we're going to paint this part very carefully. Just yellow. Being very careful not to get into our green. Okay, here we go. And we're going to let that get nice and yellow. Boy, I hope you're starting to get excited. I am. Starting to like the look of this thing. When we throw those blacks in there, it's going to be really awesome. Whoop, see how I hit that? Be careful. Clean your brush off if you hit that green. Clean that up a little bit. I cleaned my brush and got more yellow so I don't drag that green down in. I mean, you could do that. It wouldn't hurt anything. We don't want to get it too messy. It gets harder to clean up then. And we've got a lot of green going on in this dragon's eye. All right. So now what we are going to do is we are going to dip our brush, which is still yellow, in a little bit of orange. Okay, just a touch, not too much. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more yellow. We're mixing that together just to make sort of a very slight orange color. And we are going to come up here where the shadow underneath the eyelid would be. And we're going to hit that. Now, just get some color laid in and then fan it out like this. Okay? So you're going to go with your new really pale orange, and you're going to go up under the eyelid like that. Oop, I got into green again. I'm going to clean my brush to make sure. And we're going to fan this out. Just flick your brush down like this. Okay? We're going to do the same thing right at the edge down there. Okay? So take your orange right next to the bottom lid. Okay? And then you're going to flick up. You don't want to come too far up in the eye on this one because most of the shadow is going to be under the eyelid at the top. But we just want to show a little bit of variance there to make him come alive like he's glowing. Okay? All right, so I'm going to rinse that brush. And I'm going to get my round brush and I'm going to mix a color with blue and green together. Okay? So I'm going to take this blue into our little green spot over here and just do a little bit of this green mixed with that blue. So it's going to have more of a blue tint than a green tint. Still in the same happy analogous color family. Okay? All right, now let's go do our spikes. So we're going to lay in some blue in our spikes using our round brush. Isn't that cool? You could use a flat brush for this too, or even a smaller round brush might be even better. Fill in those blues on that one side. And then we'll do the other side, the bottom. And I'm connecting mine a little bit. And you can change the shape a little if you want. We did do that green on the side there, but I think I'm sort of covering over it a little bit. Maybe we can hit the inner corners just a little bit to really attach the idea of this blue to the dinosaur or the dragon. I sort of use the terms interchangeably because I think dinosaurs probably were what people thought dragons were. Okay, fill your triangles in. Your spikes. Okay. And now I'm going to add a touch of black to that. I'm going to mix it to the side a little bit here. We're going to make a darker blue-green that's almost gray. Okay, I'm not going to use this brush to paint it on. I'm going to get a small brush. Okay, but I'm using this brush, this round brush, to give a good mix to it. Okay, now I'm going to grab a fine brush. You could use a flat brush if you want, but I'm going to use this little round brush, and I'm going to hit the sides of my spikes, sides of my triangles, with a little bit of dark. Okay, I'm going to do that line between here. And below. Just on that side. To show the spiky. Okay, clean that brush. Now we're going to take this color right here, this sort of lighter one, and we're going to touch it with just a little bit of white. And this is going to make our highlight on our eyes. Okay, we're going to use this to do some little spots just on the right side. So we're just dabbing like we did the scales on the other side. I'm sorry, not on the other side, on the background when we did our scale texture. Okay, just put some lights. To show that our spikes are even. Textured just like our skin. I have this terrible habit of not finishing my sentences fast enough. I get that from my mom. My mom did the same thing. She would be so into what she was doing, she wouldn't finish her sentence. I am famous for that. Okay, he is looking good. Now, I am going to clean my brush off and use a flat brush. And I'm going to take some white into this very light green. And mix it up. Just mix it up. And then I'm going to add, I'm going to maybe not make it quite so light. If you can see that. And I'm going to get it mostly dry. Getting most of the paint off my brush, okay? And I'm going to sort of dab it on my paint cloth a little. We don't want it to be completely there. So let's lay in some little spots on his eyelid. We're going from that line in a downward motion to create the appearance of scales on the eyelids, okay? Remember, we want to keep this nice and dry. As we go to the outer edge, we don't want to press it quite as firmly. We just want it to be the impression. And we are almost done. We're going to do our black next and finish this up. I think it's turned out really good. And you could make changes. If you wanted to make changes, color changes or whatever, and add more details, I'd love, if you do this video, I'd love to see your final product, if you don't mind. And I'm actually going to put a little regular green back in there, just to show a difference in those, because they're sort of blending together. I'll make them too uniform. And then maybe just a touch of yellow. Just play with it a little. Because I don't want them to all look the same. That's the thing. We do want there to be some that look different. Okay. Let's throw a little yellow on the top just in a few spots, okay? And some of that lighter green. Well, it's not light green, it's actually regular green. Just to kind of give some interest, not on all of them now. And then I'm going to go back and actually kind of lighten them up a little bit of yellow. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Okay, let's do black. Rinse your brush. Let's do medium round brush. So it's going to look sort of like this. This one's a little bit crusty. And let's finish up our details. We're almost finished, my friends. Okay. All right. This is ended up being a little bit longer than I expected. I am not very fast, I'll be honest with you. Oh my goodness, look at how amazing that looks. Putting that iris in the eye just brought our dragon to life. Look at that, he looks so spooky. Okay. I'm thinking about my daughter because she worked all day yesterday on a painting. She spent well, not all day, but 5 or 6 hours, which is a long, just mess that up. It's just a long time for her to paint, just straight through. She was having so much fun. And I was really proud of her. She did a really cool galaxy image with planets, and it was just awesome. I was really proud of her. Okay, now let's lay some blacks in and be done with this. Miss Jabberjaws over here is just going on to town here. Let's go in with this, just the tip of our brush. We're going to go across the top. Nice thin lines, okay? And then across the bottom. Try to keep it thin. I kind of wrecked that top scale that we did. Okay, then we're going to hit these little lines. You could use a smaller round brush if you're having trouble. And then we're going to go below, just with the tip. It doesn't have to be completely full. You can